Hey everybody, we are back with the top uncommons of each color for Avatar the Last Airbender set. These are the cards that are going to really draw you into the colors in draft or sealed. And so we're going to talk about each of the best cards in those colors. The ranking scale is going to be how much it pulls you into that color when you see it in the draft or when you see it in your sealed pool. None of these cards will be bad, so the grade is based on what makes you kind of like that stopping effect where you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not sure what my second color was. I saw this card that really pushes me in this direction. So we're going to start right away with white, and we're going to start with Team Avatar. So this is a 3-mana enchantment that whenever a creature attacks alone, it gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Not something that you really want to have as an enchantment. This card needs you to play a lot of creatures, but this is an enchantment, right? And so you're already having a push and pull on the deck's, the deck's synergy. But what's great about it is it has a activated ability, 3 mana, discard the card, and then it deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control. So now it is both a pump spell when you need it and a removal spell most of the time. This is going to be a really flexible card. Although I do think you'll be playing it as removal probably about 60 to 70% of the time. Team Avatar is a great card. Certainly something I'd love to pick up if I am in white. Probably only want 1 copy of, so this will be an A tier. It's not going to push over into that next territory. The next card is Earth Kingdom Jailer. This is a 3-mana, 3/3 human soldier ally. When it enters, exile up to 1 target creature, artifact, or enchantment an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until this creature leaves the battlefield. So it is basically it is a banishing light on a 3/3 body, exactly what white really wants. This card, because it is a creature, dies to removal, so like you can't pretend that the card is gone forever. The best use case scenario is to pull a blocker out of the way while your opponent is tapped out and continue to swing in. You don't want to rely on this as hard removal, as if the card will never be back in the game, because this card could die. So for that reason, something I would love to see. I love where it fits on the curve. I wouldn't like it at 4 mana, but at 3 mana, I think it's amazing. I will go ahead and put this also in the A category. The last card in white is the Rallier. This time it's the Water Tribe Rallier. 2 mana for a 2/2 ally, and it has Water Bend 5. Look at the top 4 cards. Reveal a creature card with power 3 or less. Put it into your hand. We've seen this kind of effect many times in Magic. They're always overperformers in the set. This Waterbend, the ability is expensive, but you're able to tap creatures and artifacts in order to reduce that cost. So how much this costs is going to depend on how good this card is. That being said, in white, I absolutely want one of these in the deck. Honestly, I want 2 or 3 of them in the deck. They're just great 2-drops, and they have some value late game. For that reason, unless Waterbend becomes really difficult to pull off, I'm going to put this in the S tier. This is something when I see pick 5 or 6 in a pack, it's going to make me think like, wow, white really could be open. And with the other prevalence of good common and uncommon cards, this is something that could definitely sway me and pull me in that direction. So for me, this is A tier. This is exactly what you want in the right spot. 2 mana 2/2 with an activated ability that you can play late game. You can go ahead and do this ability more than once if it's very late in the game and you have a bunch of mana. This is everything I like. It always overperforms, so for that reason, I think this is going to be an S tier card. Moving on to blue, we have Serpent of the Pass. This is a 7 mana 6/5, And if there's 3 or more lessons in your graveyard, you can play this as if it has flash. This spell costs 1 less for each non-creature, non-land in your graveyard. So this is a lessons deck. This is an instant sorcery deck. Usually blue has something like this, a big ground creature where the tension is how much does it cost, right? And so if it's 5 mana for a 6/5, then you're right there online and saying, okay, that's pretty good. If it's 4 mana, all of a sudden this is amazing. And that would take the 3 lessons in the graveyard. So for 4 mana and flash, a 6/5, it's going to be really strong. That being said, this is the type of card that kind of goes around in a pack. You don't need to jump on it super early. I think this is going to be there in the second half of the pack, unless somebody's just hammering blue. Specifically because you're going to need the lessons first, right? So this is something you might pick up earlier in pack 3, but you're not going to pick it up early in pack 1. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in the B category. They always end up seeing play, this type of card. This one, not sure if it's going to go above and beyond that, but it will definitely see some play. The next card is Invasion Submersible. This is a 3 mana artifact vehicle. When it enters, it mana wars something. So it puts a non-land permanent back in your opponent's hand. Then you can pay 4 and Waterbend, so you can go ahead and tap other things to help pay for the cost. I'm sorry, I believe it's 3, right? A little hard to see on the cost there. But you then put 3 +1/+1 counters, and it becomes a creature. So it is 3 mana to bounce something, and then another 3 mana to become a 3/3. This is an ability that you can use only one time, and so it stays as a 3/3, but you do get a creature out of it. For that reason, and I think that it's going to be something that's playable, 3 mana for a bounce effect is getting a little on the expensive side, but it leaves behind an artifact which can tap for waterbend abilities on other permanents. I think it's going to see play, but I don't know how good it's going to be. For that reason, I think I'm going to put it in the C category. This is something where maybe if it costs 2, I would be really excited about it. But at 3 mana for a bounce, not exactly thrilled yet. I may be proven wrong, and if you think I am, please leave a comment below on what you see in this card that maybe I'm missing out on. I think it's good, but I think that it will be a little bit behind some of the other uncommons in the set. And here's one that I'm super excited about. This is Accumulate Knowledge. Accumulate Wisdom, right? So this is, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You can put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. But you can put all 3 cards into your hand if there's 3 or more lessons in your graveyard. So for 2 mana, draw 3 cards. That is amazing. But you have to be playing a deck full of lessons. It's going to be a little bit hard to do in draft if you're not on it from pack 1 and accumulating enough of a presence of lessons, right? You probably want to have 9 or 10 before you can reliably think that this would be draw 3. But even if you don't, 2 mana, specifically instant speed, so you could do it at your opponent's end step. Look at the top 3 cards, take 1 card, put it into your hand. That's already enough of a baseline, that cantrip, that this is going to be really good. And when it's amazing, it will be great. So for that reason, I think I'm going to put this in the A category. I'm going to be super excited every time that I see it in a draft because I know what could happen. I don't know what will happen, but I know what's possible with this card. Next, we're going over to black in WUBRG order, and we have Jody, One of Many. So this is a 2 mana 2/2. You can pay black and tap to surveil 1. You create a token that's a copy of Judy, and then you sacrifice a artifact or a creature. So you can use this to turn clue tokens or 1-drops into other copies of Judy, and they all become 2/2s with the ability to surveil. What's really going to matter is how much fodder you have that's worse than this card. So as a 2-mana 2/2, this is on curve, but it doesn't scale into the late game. How many clue tokens and other kind of things that you will have that you can surveil and sacrifice in order to make a 2/2 significantly better? That's going to be the real test here. I don't normally have a lot of success with sacrifice themes in draft decks because maybe I don't draft the right number and have the density of fodder and payoffs. So for that reason, for myself, I'm going to bring this to a C category, but your miles may vary. You may see this higher than I do. Next up is Epic Downfall. This is 2 mana for a sorcery. Exile target creature with mana value 3 or greater. So it is a sorcery, which does kind of take the removal down a little bit, and it does not hit early creatures, right? And so this is not kind of a tempo play that you want to go and get an early blocker out of the way so that you can keep the pressure on. Mana value of your target must be 3 or greater. That being said, that's the kind of cards you want to hit later in the game anyway. You could get yourself into an issue if you are looking at this as something that's going to kill an early creature. So this is your downside protection for later in the game. It's a 2-drop, but it doesn't feel like it slots in the 2 spot, right? But it will help you do more than one thing on your turn later on. For that reason, I think it's a B. I would love to be really excited about this card. I think if it was an instant, I would be. But as a sorcery, I do have to put it in the B category. And the one that's not going to be in the B category is Heartless Act. This is 2 mana for an instant. Destroy target creature with no counters on it, or remove up to 3 counters from target creature. So this can go ahead and kill quite a bit of the format. It's going to be able to kill, 70% of the format, and it's going to be able to take the counters off of something like an Earthbended land or some early creature that your opponent has built up over time. This is a really good card at instant speed. It's going to be great. It doesn't hit everything, right? That would probably be more 3 mana removal rather than 2 mana, but this is something that I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to bring it into the S category. I know it's not hard removal for everything, but I think it hits a big enough swath of the format that you're going to be really happy that you had this. So for me, this is an S tier card. Okay, we got a couple more red cards and quite a few pieces of removal. The first one is Iron's Demonstration. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. I-R-O-H. Iron? No, there's no N, right? Iro's Demonstration. So this is 2 mana for a sorcery, and this is a lesson. Deal 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls, or deal 4 damage to a target creature. This is a great flexible spell. You are going to have to kind of set up the deal 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. They're probably not going to have a ton of 1 toughness creatures. Maybe in the white token ally deck, maybe you'll be able to sweep up a bunch of them, but because it has the flexibility of attacking 1 creature or kind of looking to get rid of as many 1/1s as possible, the fact that you have the flexibility means this is really getting a leg up. The fact that it's a lesson, again, even higher, bringing it to the top. This is something that's going to go in the A category. I love flexible removal when I'm playing red. I want the ability to kind of see what happens in combat, make a kind of a swing into a board and see if they block in a way that I could deal the 1 damage and be able to go ahead and kill multiple creatures. So for me, this is an A tier card. The next is the Cave of Two Lovers. This is a 4 mana saga, and when it enters, you create 2 1/1 ally creatures. On the second turn, you search your library for a mountain, reveal it, and put it into your hand. And then the third turn, you Earthbend 3, which is you go ahead and put 3 +1/+1 counters on a target land, and it becomes a creature. So for 4 mana, you are ending up with 2 1/1s, a land, and the land is going to turn into a creature on the following turn. It will be a 3/3. This is a lot of value for your 4 mana. The question is, at the later state of the game, unless you're playing this exactly on 4, right? So if you're playing this on turn 4, then on turn 5, you are searching for a land, putting it in your hand. Presumably you don't have another land drop, so you're able to play it right away. And it's turn 6 where you're getting the 3/3 with haste, right? Because the land has been on the battlefield. So a turn 6 3/3 with haste, not the biggest payoff. But if this is paired in something like Rule and you're able to kind of get this out a turn early, then this amount of value goes up quite a bit. As of now, I think it's going to be in the B territory. It's something I would love to see in my red decks, but it's not something that's going to make me drop everything and switch over to red. Combustion Technique is a card that may, right? 2 mana for instant speed, lesson. This is deal damage equal to 2 plus the number of lessons in your graveyard to target creature, and if that creature would die, you go ahead and exile it. So worst case scenario, this is 2 mana for 2 damage. If you pack your deck with lessons, you could go ahead and, you know, have this be 2 mana for easily 4 or 5, probably 4, probably a little bit easier than 5, but you can go ahead and kill most creatures with something like Combustion Technique. It also sets you in the path for making sure you are getting the lessons, right? And I think that early lesson is going to be a big determining factor on how good lessons are in your deck. If you have 2 or 3 of them, you're not going to feel it. But if you can go ahead and end up with 7, 8, 9 lessons in your deck, they're all powerful in their own right. And then the synergies just add all on top of each other. So for that reason, this is going to be in an A category. If you remember my video on the commons, the red cards were all clustered up near the top of the list. Uncommons, they're all up there also, and so that's kind of an indication of where I'll be spending a lot of my draft time at this new set, at this Avatar set. Going into the last color in green, the first card up is Allies at Last. This is a 2 and a green for an instant speed spell. Up to 2 target creatures you control each deal their damage to a creature you don't control. It also has affinity for allies, so it costs 1 less for each ally you control. So if you have 2 allies, then this only costs 1 green. And this is really great because you can use 2 smaller creatures to take down a larger creature, or you can target 2 creatures that you control that each could take down the creature by itself. And then if your opponent has a response and kills one of your creatures in response, you still go ahead and get your card's worth of value off of this. So this is a premier removal spell. It is a reason you want to be in green, but it's also kind of a reason you want to play allies, because you'd like to get a little bit of a cost reduction. Once you get this down to 2 or 1 mana, this card really shines. For that reason, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the A category. If you have no allies, I still would take a card like this and use it. It is great removal, but it gets even better if you do have allies. Next card is Flopsy, Bummy's Buddy. This is a 6 mana 4/4 for a legendary creature, Ape Goat. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and then each creature you control with power 4 or greater can't be blocked by more than one creature. So this is the kind of like board breaker style card. It does cost 6 mana, so you'd love to be able to ramp it in a little bit early. But when you have a bunch of cards around there, especially if you have some with 3 power, you're going ahead and putting the +1/+1 to make it have 4 power, and then when you're swinging, they can only block with 1 creature. Great card, really knocks out any board stalls. It itself can only be blocked with up to 1 creature, so your opponent cannot make advantageous double blocks. This is going to be something really good against like the white decks with a whole bunch of small ally tokens. You're going to be able to swing in and clean up. That being said, it is specifically 6 mana. It is coming at the end of the game. You do need to have a bulk of creatures out there, so you're adding the +1/+1 and getting as much value as possible. For that reason, I'm going to put it in the B category. I could see somebody say that they think that this is an A tier card. I wouldn't argue with it. Just until we get to play with it a little bit more, I just want to see how many other 5, 6, and 7 drops would be making the deck. But if you are, if this is your top end of your green creature deck, you should be pretty happy. The last card on the list is one of the most exciting. So this is Toph, the Blind Bandit. This is 3 mana for a human warrior ally. It has star power and 3 toughness. When it enters, you earthbend 2. So you put 2 +1/+1 counters on a land you control, it becomes a creature. Toph's power equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on all your lands that you control. So if you're using multiple earthbending cards, this is the type of card that gets big really quickly. Sure, I would have loved if it had trample. That probably would have pushed it over to a rare card. But as an uncommon, you can easily have this be a 4/3, 5/3, 6/3 type card where you're getting a lot of power. Minimum speaking, this will be a 2/3 because the earthbend that it does, or earthbend that it does, already puts 2 +1/+1 counters, so it's going to come into the battlefield as a 2/3. But if that earthbended creature gets destroyed, then it is a 0/3, right? So this is one where it really depends on how much earthbend you have in your deck. But if you're playing green in these sets, it looks like you're going to have quite a bit. So this card does not need much more than like a 4/3 to make it really good. If you have that, you're turning creatures sideways. I think this is going to be a really good card. That being said, I think I'm going to put it in the A category. I don't think it quite raises up to the level of the other S tier uncommons, but anytime I'm in green, I'm definitely going to want to have this card. So there's my list. I would love to see what you think about the uncommons in this set. Please leave a comment below and tell me what's your favorite uncommon, what uncommon draws you into their color the most, because that's what I'm really thinking about as I'm heading into, pack 2 in a draft. Sorry. And I'm still not sure on my second color. What is it that's going to have enough draw to pull me in? If you let me know in the comments below, that would be great. And if you like content like this, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to make sure you hit all the other videos that we have. We post 3 times a week, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And if you want to take your support even further, please look at joining our YouTube membership. Our membership has exclusive members-only videos. We have a members-only Discord. We do member-only polls so we can kind of tailor the direction of the channel to what our members are looking for. More of the same videos, more of the things you love. If you're interested at all at taking that support to the next level, please consider joining the YouTube membership. Until next time, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.